Hello, YouTubers. How you doing today? My name is Benji Lambert, aka BJ, but you can just call me Benji or Benjamin or BJ, whichever you like to call me. And this is a segment I like to call Benji Knows Wrestling. And the topic today is professional wrestling, the business side, the in-ring side, the storytelling, wrestling in general. So I was watching Beyond the Mat not too long ago for the first time in a while, and got me inspired watching that movie for the first time in a long time. Just just the business. It just got me ready to talk about WWE, WCW, ECW, the old territories, even wrestling of today like AEW and NXT and Ring of Honor, MLW. One my favorite NWA Power, AAA, New Japan. Just how the state of wrestling today. And main thing I got out of watching Beyond the Mat, just how popular wrestling was back then, mainstream wise. You know, I know WWE makes a lot more money today off TV deals and other ventures outside, like the Saudi Arabia deal or the deal they had with India and these other countries to run shows out there. But if you look at the attendance of Raw, SmackDown, and house shows and just the overall popularity of wrestling, it was so much bigger in 99, so much bigger in 98, 97, and even in the 80s during the golden era, the rock and wrestling days with Hogan and Macho Man and Warrior and Piper and them boys. Back then it was just like, look at today, and just not even just how popular it is, just how different it is as far as like the way they structure their shows. If you look at Raw, it usually always starts with a promo from the same people. If there's a storyline that Vince feels like, or some wrestlers he feels like are his favorite, he'll start the show off with them, like Roman Reigns. Like, it'll always start off with Roman Reigns coming to the ring for a promo on SmackDown, or it'll always start off with Seth Rollins on Raw. Like, if you just look at the structure, then you look at back in the day with Raw, or not even just Raw, with Nitro. Nitro always started with the cruiserweights, the most exciting wrestlers during that time were the cruiserweights, match wise, not storyline and angle or popularity, just as far as like if you want to get people hyped for the show, you would start off with the best workers in the ring, right? And that was the cruiserweights. Now you look at today, you start off with Rollins, AOP, Murphy, cutting a promo, being interrupted by Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe and Viking Raiders or the Street Profits. It's too formulaic for people to get interested in it. So say for instance, if you're one of those fans who left wrestling during 2001 where WCW went out of business, or even during the John Cena era, or these last 5 years with the Roman era, and you decide you flipping through your channel one day, you ain't watched wrestling in years, and you get to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and watch for a minute just to see how wrestling has changed. And you're sitting there and you're watching the verbiage of a scripted promo from some guys who don't know anything about the business. You're going to turn it. Or you flip through and you see Lana, Bobby Lashley, wedding. That's you're not going to be watching for long. You're going to say, this is exactly why I stopped watching this shit, and you're going to turn it. And you're not going to show up next week. It's like they don't try to reel in any new fans because they happy with their 2.3s, 2.4s. They happy with their couple million fans that watch every week, SmackDown and Raw, and the people who pay tickets to see the show, and the people who got the network. They happy. Because they know at the end of the day, they can renew. They're going to renew with USA when the deal's over, and most likely Fox is going to renew, and Most likely after their time in Saudi Arabia is up, it's not going to be up. They're going to renew another contract for another 8 to 10 years, worth another 500 million to $1 billion. And then with these rumors about the network switching WrestleMania pay-per-views like WrestleMania, SummerSlam over to ESPN Plus, that's a lot more money in their pockets. Because even if majority of the people subscribe to the network don't switch, there's going to be a lot of people, new people signing up for ESPN Plus. I mean, it's already a lot of people that subscribe to ESPN Plus. That's wrestling fans. They're going to pay that $40 for them events like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, or whatever. And it's like they're going to make their money, and they're going to make a lot more money than they made during a time where wrestling was blazing hot. And from 98 to about 2002, 2003. And even during the Ruthless Aggression era, it wasn't as hot as it was in the Attitude, but it was hot still. Still was a big thing in 2003 to be a wrestling fan in 2004. It really stopped around 2007, 2008 when Raw went PG. Because people really watch wrestling for the violence part of wrestling. Well, the majority of the fair weather fans, the casuals, the people who was into the Austins and the Rocks and, the Mankinds and people who was into the NWO and WCW or into the violent nature of ECW, they watch for that type of professional wrestling, and they still had that during the Ruthless Aggression era, to where people were bleeding and more adult-like storylines, basically adult storylines and edgy TV. That's what people was into. And they changed it with the PG era, and a lot of people said, nah, fuck that, it's too cartoony. But real wrestling fans stuck around because you still can tell a good story even without the violence and the adult-like situations. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, what do you do? What do you do? I think I have the answer. You don't need to bleed on TV. You don't need to have bra and panty matches. I would like a couple bra and panty matches though. Like I would like to see Mandy Rose versus a Liv Morgan in a bra and panty match or a lingerie pillow fight. Something. They don't gotta be like every week, like Sable and Jacqueline or Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler, but every once in a while, that I wouldn't mind, but it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be too edgy. As long as you tell a good story. As long as you build up pay-per-view matches. Like, as long as you take the time out to really build up new stars. See, there's no excuse. I don't care. There's no excuse for a 50-year-old man to be your top champion in 2020. Jericho gets a pass because Jericho is still interesting. Jericho's a big name to a company who was coming up that just starting off that no one knew about. So I can understand why they would want to make Chris Jericho AEW champion, but Goldberg as Universal champion, it makes no sense. How are you trying to get more eyes on it when nobody cares about Goldberg, number one? From the people that stopped watching during the WCW days, they don't care about Goldberg in 2020. The people that stopped watching in John Cena era, 9 times out of 10, they don't know who the fuck Goldberg is. Will Goldberg get more eyes on? Maybe. But what happens when Goldberg can't come back and wrestle anymore, or Undertaker can't wrestle? Physically, they just can't do it. Then who you gonna rely on? John Cena's an actor now, people, by the way. He's had a couple decent box office movies. People in Hollywood know about him. Mainly, I'm referring to like producers and, film studios. They know of John Cena. So he'll always have work in Hollywood. And then you got the Randy Ortons and the Edges and all that, and they're legends and they're still good, but they don't bring eyes on the product. And I also read something earlier on Twitter that said Rob Gronkowski signed a deal. I don't know how true that is. I haven't looked into it, but that's the type of shit I'm talking about. You're relying on an outside source that has never wrestled, that's probably a big fan, but he's not a wrestler. He's a football player. He's a tight end. He's one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. That's his thing. Why are you focused on bringing in the Tito Ortizes, the Cain Velasquez's, the Tyson Furies, and the Rob Gronkowski's to draw eyes on the product when you can make new stars and people like Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander, Adam Cole, Seth Rollins, whoever, like people under 40. Besides AJ Styles, he's over 40, but that's AJ Styles. That's a different story. And people that's not been in the business for 20, 30 years and already had their time in the sun. You literally have a whole performance center and a whole developmental brand that's on national TV called NXT, and everybody you call up, you bury as soon as they get to the main roster. The Shinsuke Nakamura's, for example, who had the biggest pop within the last 10 years when he came up, who everyone knew. He got cheered as if he was an Attitude Era star when he first got called up. How do you blow it with someone who was so popular? I mean, he came from Japan. He was the biggest thing in Japan. He made the IWGP Intercontinental Championship more important than the Heavyweight Championship. All you had to do was book him strong. He should have never lost to Jinder Mahal. He should have never lost, period. He should have been undefeated all the way. He should have never had a title match until WrestleMania against AJ Styles. He should have stayed undefeated, won the Rumble, went to WrestleMania to fight Styles, and had a New Japan type match, and either won or lost in a 5-star classic. That's how you book people. When you book people strong in storylines that people care about. When they don't lose too early. When you make them feel important. You get the fans that's watching on their side. And guess what? When them fans that left are flicking through their TV and they stumble across and they see that guy, they like, okay, you got their attention. They might tune in next week. And if they tune in next week, boom, they'll tune in again until they're fans of the product, fans of that. All you got to do is be a fan of one wrestler, and you pretty much are the fan of a product because you're going to watch just to see that one wrestler. You don't have to. You make one star that's as relevant as, say, John Cena was in 2005 when he first started to blow up on the heavyweight side of things. The WWE, when he became a main eventer, around the time where he was in the Royal Rumble with Batista. Get them to that level. Try have a goal within the next 6 months. I want to get Seth Rollins to JBL status when JBL was champion, or Brock, like, to where nobody cares about nobody right now, but Mandy Rose, but not even Mandy Rose, but Otis, Randy Orton, and Drew McIntyre. Them are the 3 people I feel like fans genuinely care about. And guess what? Randy Orton's, 2 of them are getting over on their own. I mean, not how can I phrase this? Okay. We're still interested in the Otis storyline because it's building, still building. It's still going up. It's not to a point where you just like, I'm getting tired of this at all. Your interest is going up. Randy Orton, he's doing more and more methodical things every week to Edge or Edge's family or friends or whatever, and he's making himself look like a straight monster heel on Monday Night Raw every week. And then in the case of Drew McIntyre, It's like you can tell, just not a lot, but just like a little bit, that it's slowly slipping to where it's like when he won the Rumble, it's like he get that pop he got when he kicked Brock Lesnar over the top rope, and then when he won the Rumble, eliminated Roman Reigns, you seen them 2 pops he got, and then it's down to, okay, he come out the night after and get a decent pop, and now it's getting, the pops are getting, less and less, and there's not that much traffic on that feud right now with him and Lesnar, and we're what, 3-4 weeks from WrestleMania. Got to build interest. People are really interested in Otis. People are really interested in Randy Orton and Edge. Got to get them to that level with Drew, because people actually really care. Because people been clamoring for Drew to get his fucking time in the sun for the longest. So yeah, you got to make people care. Kevin Owens. People care about Kevin Owens, but he's in the storyline with Seth Rollins, and that storyline, I don't feel like nobody really gives that many fucks about. As far as like people like Ricochet, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. Like, you buried this man so much, I don't think it's no get backs. Once you lose into Riddick Moss on live TV in a 24/7 title match, I mean, he was done even before the match with Lesnar. I mean, wasn't he chasing around the 24/7 championship months ago? Like, wasn't he one of them jobbers chasing, or was that Cedric? I don't know, but he been cold for so long. And like this, I think it was last Monday or this Monday. I think it was last Monday, because I didn't watch this Monday. So it was last Monday when he lost to Riddick Moss. That was the nail in the coffin for Rick O'Shea. So, but when you do things like that, though, when you do things like that, when you got a guy coming up from NXT, and even before in it, coming from the Indies, that's that hot, that people are clamoring to see. When people clamor to see you, to the point where when you lose one match, they tear your Twitter up, your Facebook comment section up, your IG comment section up with, "They're buried. Why are you buried?" People really care about this wrestler, and you should think about having them in your plans in the future. Like the Matt Hardy situation. You couldn't tell off the pop he got when he finally got on TV for the first time in months that people still gave a fuck about the broken one. He was getting pops that were louder than 99% of the Raw roster, and he wasn't on TV for over 6 months. And what you do? He lost every match. He got his ass handed to him every time he was in the ring with Randy Orton. Though for a great storyline, and that was supposed to happen, because it made Randy Orton look like more of a monster heel, and plus Matt was on his way out. But you got to go back to when he first became woken Matt Hardy. To the compound match with Wyatt, to just that whole, what was that? Eater of Delete, what the fuck was him and his tag team called with Bray Wyatt? Them days. You did nothing with that gimmick. You got to go back to then and say, okay, we fucked up there. Let's not fuck up now. You know how you could have got Matt to re-sign with y'all? Start pushing him. And start letting him be 100% in control of his creative. Bring him back to the woken Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, to where he have him win a U.S. championship, or have him fight for the WWE title against Brock or something. Put him in a storyline with somebody that we care about and make it interesting. Like, that's how you do that. But if your plans is just to bring Matt Hardy back to be a jobber, he's not going to resign. He's going to do what he needs to do while he's there, just like Dean Ambrose. And then he's going to leave. Because at his age, he wants one more time. You giving everybody else, or every other past legend, one more go at the top. Why not somebody like Matt Hardy, who's a lot younger than a Goldberg, or, well, not a lot, but younger than a Goldberg or a Taker, and people actually give a fuck. Like, people care about Undertaker, but not like Matt. Like, I like this. People still like to see the Undertaker entrance. It's still eerie. It's still the best thing about his performance. Then when he gets in the ring and that bell hits, is how can I put this to describe how bad it is, Undertaker wrestling? It's like somebody scratching their long nails on a chalkboard. It's unbearable to watch an Undertaker's match. And to an extent, Goldberg too. Unless he's working like a Ziggler who could sell his spear and jackhammer so good that we pop for it and be like, oh my God, but we only popping for the way Ziggler sold the spear. But if you put him in a ring with a Bray Wyatt, you're going to get the match you got in Saudi Arabia. Put him in a ring with an Undertaker, you're going to get what you got in Saudi Arabia. You put him in a ring with an old veteran who's past his prime, it's going to be like two old people fighting, like really like real life street fighting. You're going to see slow punches and just a fight that just, you ever seen old people fight? Like, it takes forever. It's like the longest fight of all time. It could be a 30-second fight and it'll feel like a 12-round boxing match without the actual boxing, without the actual strategies, hooks, and jabs, and just excitement of a 12-round classic fight, Sugar Ray fight or a Pacquiao fight. No, it's more like if Mayweather was 300 pounds overweight fight, like that type of fight. Like it just takes forever. That's what it feels like when you put a Goldberg in a ring with somebody who can't work like a Ziggler or a Rollins or one of these young workers today. You're gonna get nothing but bad matches. So the Undertaker, we still care about these legends. Don't get me wrong. I still respect the hell out of Goldberg. He's still exciting as hell to see that entrance and see the spark shootout and all that. You feel me? And just hear the music. Like, it gives you nostalgia feeling because I was around during that era, the Attitude Era. That's when I got into wrestling. When I became a fan. I became a fan in '96. So I seen Goldberg's career from the start, or I seen Undertaker during the years of him wearing the fedora with the purple rim and the purple gloves and hair over his face all the way down to his. I seen a ministry Undertaker. I seen a biker Undertaker. I seen the biker Undertaker with a haircut. I seen his return to as the dead man. Like, I seen 20 plus years of professional wrestling, and these were some of my favorite wrestlers: Goldberg, Stone Cold, or Undertaker. You know, I was a fan even in the Ruthless Aggression era. So obviously I was a fan of Randy Orton and Edge and John Cena and all these guys that's been around for a minute. But I'm not interested in seeing a Ruthless Aggression era again. Or at least with the same wrestlers. I would love a 2020 version of the Ruthless Aggression era. Just not with the same wrestlers. I would love a new Attitude Era. Just not with the same wrestlers. They can't do it at the pace they did it back then. They're older. They're in their 40s and 50s and shit. How long do you expect them to before they in a wheelchair, before somebody like the Undertaker is crippled forever? Hip replacement surgeries and everything this man done been through. Goldberg, he took so much time off from 2004 to what, 2014, 15 when he came back. And he was never a good worker in the first place. So, I mean, come on, like Cena, he took a whole year off without being on TV. Like, it's time to push some new people. Like, it's time to make new stars. And the time should be after WrestleMania 36. I don't give a fuck what Saudi show you got after WrestleMania. Don't put no motherfucking Undertaker or Goldberg on that show. Goldberg should be losing to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. 5 minute match. I don't want nothing over 5 minute match. Hard hitting. He spear Roman. Roman spears him. Boom. Maybe 2 or 3 spears each. Hard hitting like the Lesnar Goldberg match was at WrestleMania. Get the title off him and pay him his couple million and let him go back to Atlanta to fix some cards up and start building. You want to get Roman over, right? You want to get Roman over? Okay. The response is in the community, in the wrestling fan community, is Roman might get cheered. They might finally get what they want, and Roman being cheered. If that's the fact, okay, you go from there. You build on that. If he's still a babyface after WrestleMania 36 and he's still getting them loud reactions, okay, you can react. But if he's getting booed still, I don't give a fuck what type of motherfucker leukemia or whatever. Like, I get it. He's a sponsor, a spokesman for cancer because he actually had it, and we all remember that incident. It was one of the saddest moments in wrestling history. You have to turn him. I think enough people know that this is a work. Professional wrestling is not real. I think enough people in this world know that with this internet age. He could still be a spokesman in some way for cancer. And if not, you still got a bunch of other people that do the Susan G. Komen that's a spokesman. People like John Cena. People like, Becky, or, you feel me? But in order to build new, it's important to build a new story. Not only that, just imagine the type of heat he can get as a heel if he's actually really, really considered a heel in the minds of everyone, not just us as fans, but the writers and Vince too. He'll be the most over heel in professional wrestling. Just off the fact we hate him as a babyface. Just imagine how much we'll hate him as a heel, and he'll be getting hate for all the right reasons. And then on Monday Night side, Drew McIntyre needs to win, and he's going to win. But you can't drop the ball like you did with Seth Rollins. I don't want him cowering to nobody in the corner. I don't want him to get F5'd every week and his ass handed to him every week, and then he's like, guys, I have to win. I just, giving a sad-ass promo, making it seem like he's about to retire. Like that promo Seth Rollins gave, where he got his ass handed to him by Brock Lesnar, and then he picked up the microphone. And the cadence and the voice he gave that promo in sounded like a retirement fucking speech. And you expect us to care and like this man, and then next thing you know, he's cowering to the Fiend in the corner, and then we get the Hell in a Cell finish, and then all the shit he was saying all the dumb shit Seth Rollins was saying on Twitter. Like, at least with the Seth Rollins situation, y'all, it was a 50% WWE and 50% Seth Rollins fault, because they booked him stupidly, and Seth Rollins killed himself on Twitter and in interviews with all the statements he made about Dean Ambrose and about how we just fair weather fans and just all the stupid shit this nigga was saying. So it was somewhat his fault. With Drew McIntyre doesn't seem like the person that's going to give an interview and say shit like Seth Rollins said. So I don't have to worry about him burying himself. But WWE has a track record of burying people after giving them the title. And not even purposely burying them, I don't think. It's just stupid storylines bury wrestlers in 2020. People are so fickle. Fans are so fickle. Like, one stupid storyline and we're not interested anymore. Especially, and could you blame us? I mean, honestly, could you blame us off of what we've seen since this fucking PG era of how they book people that got over, like a Zack Ryder or a Dolph Ziggler or a Nexus? Could you blame us? One bad storyline or one wrong decision is almost a guarantee that this guy is done for nowadays. Look at the Fiend. He had one job: keep him strong. But you put him in a title match too early. Okay, that was cool. Oh, that was stupid, but it was ways you could have got around that. He just wins at Hell in a Cell. No, he doesn't win that. Nobody actually won that Hell in a Cell. It was a disqualification or a stoppage of the match in a Hell in a Cell match where Mick Foley was threw off the top of the cage. And I was watching Beyond the Mat earlier, like I said, and they interviewed Foley during that time, and we got to see Foley getting thrown off the top and getting choke slammed through the cage, and they didn't stop the match then. And that was real shit. That he wasn't supposed to go through the cage. So he really, really took some damage. As far as Fiend took no damage with that sledgehammer shot. So that was the beginning of the end to in a lot of people's opinion, and also in a lot of people's opinion, that was the end of the Fiend. But no argument, definitely the end of the Fiend was that loss to Goldberg, which he never was supposed to lose to no 50-year-old man who haven't wrestled since the last Saudi show, I think, or the Saudi show before that when he had that horrible match with Taker. To get it on to him so he can have a match with Roman Reigns because it's a bigger match. Yeah, it's a bigger match until people actually see the match and see how much this sucks. And then they're like, I'm not ever watching this shit again. Who are you trying to, like, you're not trying to put on a good show. It's almost a guarantee that WWE is not trying to put on a good show for us, the fans that watch today. They're trying to get people that either never watched or that left to come back with this match. And how are you going to do that when you got a guy who never was a good worker, and another guy who's a decent worker at that they don't care about? They don't like Goldberg anymore because he beat the Fiend, and they don't really care about Roman Reigns. Like, he doesn't get the massive heat he's gotten a year or two ago, but they don't care. They don't care, especially after coming out this feud with Corbin that never ended. The feud that took 100 years to end. People don't give a fuck. So the bigger match probably actually would have been the Fiend and Roman. Actually probably would have been, because people actually cared about the Fiend. But they didn't want to do that because they didn't want Roman to be the heel. They didn't want Roman to get booed. Okay, so you do the fucking Goldberg match with Roman at WrestleMania and keep the championship on the Fiend and have John Cena versus the Fiend. Because guess what? Regardless, nobody would have gave a fuck about Roman and Goldberg. With the title or without it. But at least without the title, it's less heat that they might get. They might both get booed the fuck out the building. Because fans are not dumb no more. They know what you're doing. They know you're trying to make Roman a babyface. So guess what? When you try to tell people how to feel, especially wrestling fans and who to cheer for, they rebel. So you might get a fuck you both at WrestleMania. One of them fuck you both chants. And a you both suck chants. And a this is boring chant. Like every big Roman Reigns match gets with John Cena. What happened with Lesnar? They both got booed at the building. He gave him 4 F5s. Nobody gave a fuck about. Lesnar went the whole year pinning everyone with 1 F5. And when Roman kicked out that first F5, nobody gave a fuck. Because nobody cared about Lesnar nor Reigns. And what happened when Lesnar won? They popped for a quick second because it was a shot. Because everybody thought that Roman was going to win. Then after that, nobody cared. They booking is just like so dumb. It's like they try to book dumb shows. But when it becomes like WrestleMania, and they book stupid shit on WrestleMania, then you start to think like maybe they're not trying to book bad shows. Maybe they just really are that incapable of writing good television, good professional wrestling television. And maybe Vince just doesn't have it up here anymore. Maybe the age is getting to him to where he's senile as hell and his old age is making him do this shit. But the good thing is we're starting to see a little more progress. I didn't watch this Raw, past Raw. The Raw before that sucked, and the Raw before that Raw was mediocre. But before that, we had a 2-3 week string of okay Monday Night Raws. So, and that's more than we can say about SmackDown on Fox. So we can see Raw starting to switch a little bit. Hold on one second, guys. I got a phone call.